"I pronounce the death of Marcus Wellington at 11:47 p.m., Dr. Harrison announced, removing the millionaire's property from the property. 23 experts had failed 5 consecutive days. The richest man in Chicago was officially lost. Rosa Delgado remained in the corner of the luxury suite of the Metropolitan Hospital, invisible as always. At 34, Nurse Filipina had worked double shifts a decade ago, sending money to the family in the Philippines while supporting 2 daughters, alone in a one-room apartment. "Turns off the devices, Rosa," ordered Dr. Harrison, without even looking at her. "The family will arrive in 1 hour for the final procedures." But something didn't beat. Rosa had observed patients die before, and Marcus Wellington did not present the classic signs. Her breath had stopped, yes, but the skin color, body temperature, pupillary reflexes, there was something wrong in that diagnosis. "Doctor," she whispered hesitantly, "perhaps we should—" "Rosa, please," Dr. Harrison interrupted her impatiently. "I know it's hard to accept when we lose a patient, but we need to be professional." Rosa nodded silently, but her trained eyes kept analyzing Wellington's body. 23 doctors had declared a mysterious multiple organ failure. None had considered the possibility she now suspected. In fact, Rosa Delgado was not just an ordinary nurse. Graduated in medicine in Philippines with specialization in tropical toxicology, her diploma was not recognized in the United States. 15 years of medical knowledge reduced to applying medications and exchanging dressings, while American doctors with half of their experience made life or death decisions. "The cause of death will be listed as a systemic bankruptcy of unknown origin," Dr. Harrison dictated to the secretary. "A rare case, but unfortunately, there is nothing we could do." Rosa pretended to organize the medications while memorizing every detail of Wellington's condition: subtle muscle rigidity, specific discoloration in nails, the irregular pattern of the last seizure. Their teachers in Manila had taught about such cases during contaminated seafood poisoning epidemics. Wellington's body temperature was slightly elevated to a corpse. His pupils reacted minimally to light when no one was looking, and the breathing pattern that had ceased showed almost imperceptible micro-moving in the diaphragm. During the 5 days of hospitalization, Rosa had noticed something strange in Wellington's eating habits. He consistently rejected the hospital's food, insisting only on meals brought by his personal assistant, Victor Chen. Always the same dishes of the same exclusive catering company. "Thanks for your work, Rosa," said Dr. Harrison, already heading at the door. "You can prepare the body now." Alone with the corpse of Chicago's most powerful man, Rosa made a decision that would change her life forever. She knew exactly what was happening to Marcus Wellington, and was definitely not a natural death. Wellington was in a state of temporary paralysis induced, probably by a specific neurotoxin that she had studied extensively during her residence in Manila. Symptoms were identical to tetrodotoxin poisoning, a substance extracted from baiacu fish that simulates clinical death for a few hours. It was exactly 11:52 p.m. when she noticed the almost imperceptible movement in Wellington's chest, a reflection that 23 experts had lost, but that their trained eyes in a precarious Philippine hospital managed to capture. Dr. Harrison returned unexpectedly to the room. "Rosa, I forgot my clipboard. What are you doing?" Just checking one last time, doctor," she replied, moving away from the bed while discreetly felt Wellington's wrist. "Weak, but present. The man is dead, Pink. Stop wasting time and prepare him for the family." There, before a man declared dead by the American medical elite, Rosa kept a knowledge that could rewrite the whole story. But who would believe in an immigrant nurse against the word of 23 respected doctors? While Dr. Harrison left his room again, Rosa watched the arrival of 2 men in black. They were not from the funeral home. They arrived too early, and their movements were excessively cautious for funeral services employees. One of them spoke on the phone in Mandarin. Rosa immediately recognized language, had learned the basics during her studies on traditional Chinese medicine. The few words that managed to capture made their blood freezing. "The problem is solved, and no one will suspect." At that moment, she realized that she was not just in the face of a medical error, but possible of something much more sinister. And if Marcus Wellington wasn't really dead, it meant someone was trying to make sure he never woke up. If you are enjoying this story of how prejudice has almost cost a life, be sure to subscribe to the channel to find out how Rosa would transform her invisibility into the most powerful weapon against a system that completely underestimated her. The hospital corridor was silent at 11:58 p.m. when Rosa made the riskiest decision of his career. With accurate movements, she again checked Wellington's wrist. Weak but consistent. That man was not dead. In 15 years working at Metropolitan, Rosa had seen American doctors make mistakes she immediately identified, but never dared to question. His formation in Manila included cases of marine neurotoxin poisoning that were rare in the United States, but common in the Philippines. Rosa, what are you still doing here? Dr. Peterson appeared at the door, annoyed. The death protocol was completed 10 minutes ago. Sorry, doctor. I was just organizing the medicines to the morning, she lied, moving away from the bed. Dr. Peterson didn't even look at Wellington. The body goes to the morgue in 1 hour. Finish soon and go home. As soon as he left, Rosa discreetly opened one of the bedroom drawers and took a small medical flashlight. He quickly pointed to Wellington's eyes. The pupils reacted slightly, confirming their suspicions. Tetrodotoxin causes temporal paralysis, maintaining some basic autonomic functions. During the 5 days of hospitalization, she had meticulously noted all Wellington's symptoms in a personal notebook: progressive paralysis, breathing difficulty, but preserved consciousness until the last moment. Just like cases of poisoning by Byaku that you had studied during your residence. Rosa remembered Victor Chen, the personal assistant who brought Wellington's meals, always smiling, always insisting that his boss only ate authentic Asian food prepared by a specialized chef. None of the American doctors had questioned this specific dietary preference. I need help, she whispered, taking her cell phone. He called his sister Maria, who worked as a translator at the Filipino consulate. Rose, it's almost midnight. Maria, I need to help me translate something urgent. Those men I've seen spoke Mandarin. Can you come to the hospital now? Mandarin? Rose, what's going on? A man can die if I don't act. Please trust me. While waiting for Maria, Rosa mentally revised antidote protocols to tetrodotoxin. Atropine in controlled doses could reverse the paralytic effects, but needed to be administered in the first 4 hours of poisoning, and Wellington was already dead for 15 minutes. Dr. Harrison returned to the room for a last check. Rosa, why are you still here? And why is this light on? Doctor, please, hear me once. Rosa gathered all your courage. This man is not dead. He is suffering tetrodotoxin-induced paralysis. He needs atropine immediately. Dr. Harrison stared at her as if she had lost her reason. Rosa, you are a good nurse, but this is absurd. 23 experts examined this patient. He had multiple organ failure. Symptoms are identical to poisoning by Byaku. I studied such cases in the Philippines. Philippines? Dr. Harrison laughed cruelly. Rosa, you are a nurse, not a doctor, and certainly not in tropical medicine. Stop this fantasy and go home before I have to report your inappropriate behavior. The humiliation burned in the pink chest, but she kept her calm. Doctor, if I'm wrong, nothing changes. If I'm right, we save a life. You are wrong, and if you continue with this obsession, I will recommend a psychological assessment. Now get out of this room. Alone once again, Rosa watched Wellington's almost imperceptible breath. In Manila, your teacher had said, Rose, you have the best diagnostic eye of the class. Never let anyone make you doubt what you see. Maria arrived discreetly by the entrance of the employees. Rosa, what do you need me to translate? Those men I saw coming earlier. I wrote down a few words I could hear. Can you tell me what they mean? Maria examined the pink notes. The problem is solved, and nobody will suspect. Rosa, that sounds very dangerous. Worse yet, this man who everyone thinks is dead can be the victim of an attempted murder. Are you sure what you're doing? Rosa looked at Wellington once again. I'm a medical graduate, Maria. My diploma may not be worth here, but my knowledge does. And this man needs help now. It was then that she realized something crucial. The home. We were still in the parking lot, waiting in a dark car. If Wellington was really dead, why did they keep waiting? Maria followed the look of the window. They are expecting something specific to happen, aren't they? Exactly. Tetrodotoxin causes paralysis for 4 to 6 hours. If they wait for this time, when the body comes to the morgue, no one else will prove that he was alive. Rosa made the final decision. He needed to act on his own, against all medical orders, risking his career and possibly his freedom. But Wellington had a maximum of 2 hours before the effects of the toxin became permanent. Mary, I need to document everything I'm going to do. If something happens to me, you'll have the evidence. In the next few minutes, Rosa would collect evidence that would not only save Wellington's life, but would expose a conspiracy that would destroy reputations and change their own life forever. What doctors didn't know was that their simple Philippine nurse was about to teach them a lesson about humility and competence that none of them would ever forget. With Maria documenting each movement through discrete photos, Rosa began to implement a plan that 15 years of medical knowledge had prepared. She knew she was at most an hour before the effects of tetrodotoxin became irreversible. Rosa, I need you to understand the severity of what you are doing, whispered Mary, checking if anyone was coming through the hall. If you are wrong, you can lose your job, your nursing license, everything. If I'm right and not acting, an innocent man will die and a killer will be free, Rosa replied. preparing a syringe with atropine who had discreetly removed from the emergency cart. In Manila, I saved dozens of people with identical symptoms. Rosa knew every detail of the protocol because she had lived similar cases during outbreaks of seafish poisoning contaminated in the Philippines. Atropine needed to be administered in accurate doses. Very little would not revert to paralysis, much causing cardiac arrest. While preparing the medication, she explained to Maria how to document the vital signs. Write down the exact time of each administration, the reaction of the pupils, any change in skin color. If I'm right, we'll see improvement in 10 minutes. And the men in the parking lot? Maria asked, watching the window. They are still there, probably expecting confirmation that Wellington was officially declared dead before leaving. It makes me more sure that I'm right. Rosa managed the first dose of atropine through the venous access that was still working. Wellington did not react immediately, but she knew that tetrodotoxin created deep paralysis that masked any initial improvement. We are waiting now, she whispered, checking Wellington's wrist once again. If my theory is correct, in 15 minutes it will begin to show signs of recovery. Maria discreetly filmed the whole procedure with her cell phone. Rosa, do you realize that this could be used as evidence against you too, if it goes wrong? I prefer to be processed for trying to save a life than living knowing that I let a man die for cowardice. At 5 minutes, Rosa noticed a subtle change in Wellington's breath. The diaphragmatic movements were slightly more pronounced. Maria, are you seeing? Breathing is stronger. I have everything recorded, Maria confirmed, approaching the phone to better capture the changes. At 10 minutes, something extraordinary happened. Wellington's eyelids traded almost imperceptibly. Rosa checked her pupils again. They were reacting more visibly to light. My God, Rosa, he's really getting better. Atropine is working. Now I need one more dose to ensure that it completely recovers consciousness. Rosa managed the second dose, carefully calculating the amount based on Wellington's estimated body weight and the severity of the symptoms she had observed. 15 minutes after the first injection, Wellington moved slightly on his fingers. Rosa held his hand and felt a weak but unambiguous pressure. He was trying to squeeze back. It's working, she whispered to Maria. He's waking up. It was at this moment that Dr. Harrison returned unexpectedly to the room, accompanied by 2 morgue officials. Rosa, what are you still doing here? And why are these lights on? Rosa was strategically positioned between Dr. Harrison and Wellington, gaining a few precious seconds. Doctor, you need to see that. Wellington is alive. I managed atropine and he's responding. What did you do? Dr. Harrison roared. Did you manage medication in a corpse without medical authorization? That's... Doctor, look at him, Rosa insisted, walking away so he could see Wellington. Check the wrist, examine the pupils. Dr. Harrison was reluctantly approaching the bed, clearly prepared to discredit Pink once more. But when he placed the stethoscope on Wellington's chest, his expression changed completely. Impossible, he murmured, checking his pulse around his neck. There are consistent heartbeat. Wellington slowly opened his eyes, focusing on Dr. Harrison's face with difficulty. What happened? He whispered with a hoarse voice. The silence in the room was broken only by the rosebud of the monitors, showing stable and growing vital signs. Dr. Harrison looked at Rosa with an expression that mixed shock, unbelief, and for the first time, genuine respect. How did you know? Tetrodotoxin, Rosa answered calmly. Marine neurotoxin poisoning. I studied identical cases during my residence in Manila. Paralysis simulates clinical death for 4 to 6 hours. Residence? Dr. Harrison repeated, confused. Are you graduated in medicine? Medical with specialization in tropical emergencies. My diploma is not recognized here, so I work as a nurse. Wellington tried to speak again, his words getting clearer. Someone tried to kill me? Rose nodded severely. Probably through the food your assistant brought. Victor Chen, right? Always insisted that you eat specific dishes. Recognition slowly appeared in Wellington's eyes. Victor always brought special sushi, said they were the best seafood chef of the city. Maria discreetly showed the Rose that men in the parking lot were moving, looking nervous. One of them spoke urgently on the phone. Doctor, Rosa said, we need to call the police immediately, and we need to keep Wellington under observation. There may be residual toxin in the system. Dr. Harrison still processed the reality that a simple nurse had not only correctly diagnosed a condition that 23 experts made a mistake, but also saved the life of a patient he had declared dead. Call security, he ordered the morgue officials, and contact the police. It looks like we have an attempted murder. Rosa watched Wellington gradually recovering movements and speech, knowing that he had not only saved a life but also exposed a conspiracy. What she didn't expect was that this brave decision would be about to change not only Wellington's fate, but also completely rewrite the rules of a system that had been invisible for years. While waiting for the police to arrive, Rosa realized that the condescending look she had always received from American doctors had changed to something she never thought she would see: professional admiration and genuine respect for the knowledge she had kept alive during all these years of invisibility. Police arrived in 15 minutes, led by Detective Morrison, an experienced man who immediately understood the severity of the situation. Rosa had meticulously organized all the evidence: Mary's filming, vital signs records, managed medications, and detailed notes of the recovery process. "You saved this man's life," Morrison said to Rosa, examining the documentation, "and possibly exposed a conspiracy of homicide." Wellington, now completely conscious and talking clearly, provided crucial details about Victor Chen. "He always insisted that I eat specific dishes, saying they came from the best seafood chef of the city. In the last 2 months he always felt nauseous after these meals, but Victor said it was work stress." Dr. Harrison watched the scene in silence, processing the fact that he had declared a living man dead and that a simple nurse had correctly diagnosed a condition that 23 experts made a mistake. "Dr. Harrison," Rosa went to him calmly, "I need you to understand something important. I'm not just a nurse. I'm a medical graduate with specialization in tropical emergencies from the University of Manila. My diploma is not recognized here, but my knowledge is real." Dr. Harrison's expression changed completely. 15 years of condescension and contempt collapsed in seconds. "Why did you never mention your formation?" "Because no one ever asked," Rosa answered simply. "You saw my origin, my accent, my uniform, and assumed my ability. I got used to being invisible." Victor Chen was arrested 2 hours later trying to board a flight to Hong Kong. In his luggage, police found more toxin bottles and documents revealing a plan designed to take control of Wellington companies after his natural death. "Chen was systematically poisoning Wellington 2 months ago," Morrison explained. "The tetrodotoxin in small doses caused the symptoms that you interpreted as bankruptcy of multiple organs. The final dose was calculated to simulate death for a few hours, enough time for the body to be sent to the morgue where the evidence would be destroyed." Wellington held Pink's hand with genuine gratitude. "You not only saved my life, you exposed a betrayal that lasted years. Victor had access to all my business, my passwords, my total confidence." Dr. Harrison approached Rosa, visibly embarrassed. "Dr. Delgado," he said, using the right title for the first time, "I apologize for the way I treated it. His medical competence is exceptional." "Thank you, Dr. Harrison, but I hope this is a lesson about not underestimating people based on appearances or prejudice." The news spread quickly through the hospital. Nurses, doctors, and employees who had treated Rosa with condescension for years now saw her with admiration and respect. The Philippine nurse had proved to be a brilliant doctor who saved a life that 23 American experts had given as lost. "Dr. Delgado," said Dr. Peterson, one of the doctors who had disrespected her the most, "I would like to apologize. His intervention was extraordinary." Wellington called a press conference the next day. "I want everyone to know that I am alive thanks to Dr. Rosa Delgado, a brilliant Philippine doctor who works as a nurse in this hospital, because our system does not recognize foreign diplomas. She identified a poisoning that 23 experts have wrong." The story became national headline. "Nurse Filipina saves billionaire and exposes murder conspiracy." But Rosa did not seek fame, sought systematic change. How many other qualified professionals are working in lower positions because their diplomas are not recognized? She questioned interviews. How many lives could be saved if we value knowledge instead of origin? Dr. Harrison faced a disciplinary review by medical negligence, especially for declaring death without proper examinations and for repeatedly ignored Rosa's observations. His arrogance cost almost a life and his reputation. Wellington has announced a radical change in the Metropolitan Hospital, creation of a program for recognizing foreign medical diplomas and career opportunities for undervalued professionals. Rosa turned an attempted murder into an opportunity for social justice, he declared. His medical competence exposed not only a criminal, but an entire system that wastes talent for prejudice. Rosa observed the changes with discreet satisfaction. He had not sought revenge against the doctors who despised her, had simply demonstrated her competence when she most mattered. The best response to prejudice was unquestionable professional excellence. Mary hugged her sister proudly. "You not only saved a life, Rosa, you have changed an entire system." 15 years of invisibility had ended dramatically. Rosa had not only diagnosed a rare condition, had diagnosed and cured a sick system of prejudice and arrogance. And the most satisfactory thing was that everything had happened through science, competence, and professional dignity, not through petty confrontation or revenge. The question that was in the air was simple. How many other talents were hidden behind uniforms, accents, or origins that society had learned to ignore? 6 months after saving Marcus Wellington's life and exposing Victor Chen's conspiracy, Rosa Delgado walked through the corridors of Metropolitan Hospital with a confidence that had never felt before. His new board at the office door said, Dr. Rosa Delgado, Emergency Toxicology Specialist. Wellington had fulfilled all his promises. The Foreign Diplomas Recognition Program he funded had already benefited more than 50 immigrant health professionals. Rosa had been the first to have her officially validated Filipino diploma in the United States. Dr. Delgado, Dr. Harrison appeared at her office door, carrying a case folder. We have a patient with inexplicable neurological symptoms. The team would like their opinion. The transformation in Dr. Harrison was visible. The arrogant man who had despised her for years now consulting her respectfully, publicly recognizing her expertise. He had faced a severe disciplinary review and lost his position as head of the department, but maintained his job thanks to the intervention of Rosa, who asked for mercy. For sure, Dr. Harrison. I will examine the patient now, Rosa responded professionally, without any trail of resentment. Wellington appeared at the office door, smiling. Dr. Delgado, I came to bring good news. EU we established received federal approval. Will be expanded to hospitals in all 50 states. This is wonderful, Marcus. How many professionals can we help? We estimate that more than 1,000 doctors, nurses, and experts will have their credentials recognized over the next 5 years, all thanks to their example. Rosa watched the city's movement from the hospital. Her daughters were now studying at a private school. Her parents in the Philippines had received the necessary medical care, and she had established an emergency fund that guaranteed stability for her family. Dr. Peterson, who had been one of the most condescending doctors with her, approached hesitantly. Dr. Delgado, I would like to apologize publicly for my past behavior. Your competence taught me a lesson about humility that I will carry forever. Thank you, Dr. Peterson. We all make mistakes. The important thing is to learn from them. Victor Chen had been sentenced to 15 years in prison for attempted murder. During the trial, it was revealed that he had tried to poison 2 other businessmen in previous trade transactions. His reputation was completely destroyed, and he lost all goods in civil proceedings. Maria visited Rosa in her new office, hugging her sister proudly. Remember when you said it was invisible? Now you are the most respected doctor in the hospital. Being underestimated gave me an unexpected advantage. Rosa smiled. I learned to observe, to hear, to see details that others lost. What they thought was my weakness became my greatest strength. Wellington organized a recognition ceremony at the hospital, where Rosa was honored for his exceptional contribution to medicine and social justice. Hundreds of health professionals, including those who had ignored her for years, applauded standing. Rosa Delgado proved that competence has no nationality, that intelligence has no accent, and that true knowledge always finds a way of shine, said Wellington during the speech. Rosa climbed the podium with serenity. 15 years working as a nurse taught me that knowledge has value only when used to serve others. Today I invite everyone to look around and ask, how many talents are we wasting because of prejudice? After the ceremony, Dr. Harrison approached her one last time. Dr. Delgado, I know I can't undo years of disrespect, but I want you to know that your example has changed fundamentally as I see professional competence. Thank you, Dr. Harrison. The best revenge is not to destroy who hurt us, but to build something bigger than they could imagine. Rosa returned home that night where her daughters were waiting for her with the prepared dinner. Mom, did you really save the life of a billionaire? Asked the youngest. I saved the life of a human being who needed help. His money didn't matter. What mattered was to do what was right. 6 months later, Rosa looked through her private office window, the first of many who planned to open to serve needy communities. The poster at the door said, Rosa Delgado Clinic, Medicine of Excellence for All. Wellington had become a fervent advocate of diversity in medicine, often quoting Pink as an example of the talent wasted by prejudiced systems. Its scholarship program had become a national model to include immigrant professionals. The power of invisibility that Rosa had hated for so long revealed her biggest weapon. 15 years observing, learning, and growing quietly had prepared her for the moment when her competence would finally be unquestionably recognized. Rosa's story proves that true revenge is not to return the prejudice suffered, but to achieve such an obvious success that it forces the world to recognize what it has always tried to ignore. And sometimes saving a life is just the beginning of saving an entire system. If this story of overcoming injustice has inspired you, subscribe to the channel for more narratives that show how competence, dignity, and persistence always overcome prejudice, because in the end, the best response to discrimination is an excellence that cannot be denied.